Desde la República Checa, la Confederación Checo-Morava de Sindicatos. Desde Francia, la Confederación Francesa Democrática del Trabajo, la Confederación General del Trabajo y Fuerza Obrera. Desde Italia, la Confederación General Italiana del Trabajo, la Confederación Italiana de Sindicatos de Trabajadores y la Unión Italiana del Trabajo. Desde Malta, la Unión General de Trabajadores. Desde Noruega, la Confederación de Sindicatos LO. Desde Portugal, la Confederación General de los Trabajadores Portugueses Intersindical Nacional, la Unión General de Trabajadores de Portugal y desde Eslovaquia, la Confederación de Sindicatos de la República Eslovaca. También a nuestras federaciones europeas, la Federación Europea de Trabajadores de la Construcción y la Madera, la Federación Europea de Sindicatos de la Alimentación, la Agricultura y el
Agriculture and Tourism.
La Federación
is already here, and we are ready to start the European Federation of Transport Workers, ETFs, Europop, the European Confederation of Police, the European Workers of Mining, Energy, and Uni-Europe, the Federation of Workers for Services, the European Federation of Pensioners, the FERGA, and from Spain, the General Union of Workers, Workers' Commission, and the European Trade Union Confederation.
A continuación, música a cargo de
Next,
Marisa
we have
Valle
music
Rosso.
by Marisa Valles Rosso.
Puñales se clavaban bajo su garganta y no dijo nada. Con miedo, con rabia y con sangre a la espalda y no dijo nada. Yo tenía fe. Puñales que se clavan bajo mi garganta y no sale nada. Ni sangre, ni rabia, ni polvo de escarcha, no sale nada. Se cierra la puerta ante tu mirada. Yo busco el remedio y media palabra. No diré nada, no diré nada, no. Y adentré en la rama. Soy nacida en pie de monte y criada. Y ahí estaban ellas poniendo la cara. Aquí entramos todos o no entra ni un alma. Todas a una, todas o ninguna. Que me lleven presa y que vuelva rapada. No busco consuelo ni media palabra. Nadie nos para, no. Y adentré en la rama. Soy nacida en pie de monte y criada. Y echo en falta entre los cuentos cenicientes del carbón. En Madrid y alpargates y a la ETUC cultagón. Yo tenía fe. Por ellas yo tenía fe. Yo tenía fe. Por ellas yo tenía fe. Iré, tráemela aquí, 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 tráemela.
Toma la palabra Unai Sordo, secretario.
We're going to give the floor
de
to
Comisión
Unai Sordo, the General Secretary of CCOO.
Buenos días.
Good morning, everyone.
Bos días, bon dia, egunon guztioi. Gracias, compañeros y compañeras.
Thank you, dear
por
colleagues,
estar hoy aquí.
for being here
Compañeros y compañeras
with all of
que
us,
habéis
dear
venido
colleagues
de todos los territorios
that
del
come
país,
from every single territory in our country, because you are doing a great effort to be able to be here all together, because we are very strong in this General Union of Workers in Spain.
Y gracias, compañeros y
And
compañeras,
thank you, dear
venidos de
colleagues,
otros sindicatos,
who come from other trade
de un
unions
montón de
around
países de Europa y
Europe,
organizaciones sindicales.
from many
Bienvenidas,
countries in
bienvenidos a
Europe and
España.
many different
Bienvenidas,
trade unions. Please
bienvenidos a
be
Madrid.
welcome to Spain, be welcome to Madrid,
Bienvenidos a Carabanchel,
and be
a un
welcome
barrio obrero,
to Carabanchel, a working class
a un
neighborhood,
barrio de clase trabajadora como tantos en España,
a
donde la gente se levanta a
neighborhood
las
of
5 de la
working
mañana
class
para
as
ir a
many in
trabajar,
Spain, where people
donde
wake
había
up
una
at
cárcel donde
5
se apresaron
a.m.
presos
to go to
políticos
work, where
en la
we had a
dictadura
prison,
española.
where we had
Bienvenidos a Carabanchel,
politicians
compañeros y
during
compañeras.
the dictation in Spain. Please be
Bienvenidos a
welcome,
este
dear
país
colleagues.
digno,
Be welcome
al
to
país
this
de
decent
Nicolás Redondo
country,
Urbieta,
to the
al
country
país
of
de
Nicolás, to the
Marcelino
country
Camacho
of
Abad.
Marcelino
Bienvenidos al
Camacho
país que se
Abbas. Please
levantó con
be
sus
welcome
propias
to the
manos
country
contra el
that
fascismo.
woke up against
Bienvenidos al país
fascism.
que hoy en el
Welcome
boletín
to the
oficial del
country
Estado declara
where
que la mina de la
the
Camocha
BOE,
es
the
un lugar de
official
memoria
bulletin of the
democrática
state,
nacional,
declares
donde
or
se
states
empezaron
that
las
here
luchas
we
por
have
la
the beginning
democracia,
of the
por la
fight against
libertad,
democracy,
por los derechos
freedom,
laborales, por las
labor
libertades
rights,
sindicales.
and where the trade
Cuando
unions
volváis
started.
a vuestros países en Europa,
Because when you go back to your countries in Europe, please tell to your people that nobody is going to remove democracy from us, because here we have something to do. We need to fight, because this was removed by the more awareness part of the working class. Please tell your dear colleagues that you've come to the country that really fights against all of these problems.
Y gracias también a la
And
Confederación
thank
Europea
you
de
very much
Sindicatos,
to
su secretaria
the
general,
European Trade Union
Esther
Confederation and
por
to
elegir
Esther Lynch, the
España
General Secretary, for
para
choosing
organizar
Spain
este
in order to
magnífico
organize this
Porque el
incredible
hecho de que
act.
estemos
Because the
hoy
fact
aquí
that we are all
no
here
responde a una casualidad.
does not answer
Responde a que en Europa y a que en el movimiento
one
sindical
causality.
europeo
It says
se
that in
interpreta
Europe
la
and regarding
importancia de las
the
políticas
working class, we
sindicales,
interpret the
laborales y
trade
económicas
union
que
policies, the
nuestro país
economic
ha sido capaz
ones, because
de
our
desplegar
country
en los últimos
has been
años
able
y que en buena
to
medida
deal
son una
with
referencia,
during the last
no solo de la
years,
izquierda,
and
sino
this is a
fundamentalmente
reference
en el
not just
movimiento
the left
sindical
but also
europeo.
in the European trade
Hablábamos
union
antes de
movement.
entrar.
We were talking about all of this before coming here,
Ya
because
hace unos cuantos años las organizaciones
we filled this place many years ago,
de memoria
and we need to remember which is our origin. I am not talking about prior decades, because 12 years ago, dear colleagues, in this country,
teníamos una tasa de paro
we
del
had
25%,
a
por si alguien no se acuerda.
rate of
Hace 12
the
años,
25%
en este país se
and
congelaban las pensiones, se revalorizaban
of unemployment,
solo
and in
en
this
un
country
0,25%.
the pensions were reassessed the only the 0.25%. 12 years ago, the salaries were reduced months after months, year after year, and just a decade ago, the young people in Spain needed to emigrate to another countries in Europe because it was impossible to find a decent job in our country. And it was 1 decade ago, we gathered here to manifest, to claim the austerity policies, the impairment of public services that was a great suffering for the most of our population. And we really did our best. We did general strikes. Many things happened here in Spain. And in the last years, we have achieved to guide labor policies in a different way, in a good way, in comparison with what it was done in the past. And instead of facilitating dismissals, we protected employment and we saved 3.5 million of job positions in Spain. And instead of provoking problems to the salaries, the wages, we achieved a 66% of the society regarding the SMIC, and we've done this all together, the trade unions, and we've achieved to have an agreement regarding the labor agreement, which has reduced the temporary contracts in Spain. European funds that has given force to the industrial policies, the energetic policies, the public intervention regarding the economy, everything that was said in order to provoke a problem to the country has had results, and we've done it thanks to the trade unions, and in some cases it was agreed with the entrepreneur agreements, and because of the many things that we have achieved to do in Spain, and also with the Minister of Labor, and I want to really thank her because of her hard work during all of this time. Because the results, dear colleagues, the results are that now we have the best situation regarding employment. In Spain, we have reduced the situation, the negative situation. It doesn't mean that we have finished with that, but now in Spain, the medium wages increase by 5% regarding to different polls that were conducted during 2026, because we welcome immigrants, we regularize immigrants so they can have civil rights instead of the sameless situation that we've lived in Europe, xenophobia, aprophobia, because this really established the worst story in our continent. And we are here because from the trade union in Europe, we recognize everything that Spain, the trade union from Spain, has done during the last years. And we are all here because we are trade unions to raise our voices, because we want more, because we are not going to stop, because there is still poverty regarding salaries in Spain, because there are millions of workers in Spain and also in Europe with salaries that are not enough. And we really want to push organizations that they really want everything for them, they want benefits, they want to make everything very difficult for the working class. We want equality. It is not enough to increase the medium wages. We need to increase the salaries of everybody. There are 9 million people in Spain whose salaries are still the same, and we are not going to stop. We cannot allow the deterioration of public services. We need to have one door to reinforce public health, the pension system, the dependent system regarding dependent people, the care strategy. We are not going to stop. We are not going to allow to have this deterioration of our public services, because we want to reduce prices, and those prices regarding the access to the housing, because there are no countries that they don't have any single problem regarding the access to housing, depending on the things that we have done, because now millions of Europeans, and most of them young people, they cannot access to a housing with a decent price, and in Spain the situation is awful, and we really need to act, because nobody in our country should dedicate more than the 30% of their income to pay for a decent housing. Because we really want to do our best. We want to make our bid for the working class. We have a clear message in order to improve the situation of the working class. And we need to do it ourselves. We need to get trained. It is important to have qualified working positions. Nonetheless, without the organization of the people, the working conditions are going to be deteriorated in the future. But with the organization of people, the working conditions are going to improve significantly in the future. Trade unions, social protection. This is a reality, a reivindication from the European Trade Union, and this is a organization from the trade union, the most powerful one that we have in the trade union. In Europe as well. We are going to talk about Europe as well, because I know that this topic is sometimes difficult, it is not sexy, and it has difficulties to explain it, but dear colleagues, we need to deep down in Europe, or we are going to have a real problem. We need to work to have a social Europe, to have democracy, because if not, we are not going to provide positive aspects for the future generations, because I don't know what is the bureaucracy in Brussels. Institutions are not going to do anything for the working class and for the popular classes of our countries. We need to reduce the external dependencies in all of the strategic material, because Europe cannot depend on fossil fuels that are part of people that are not recommended, and because we cannot trust them. Because we cannot let the USA, Mr. Donald Trump, to do whatever they want, because Europe needs to have their external dependencies, to develop their own energy, renewable energy, that must bring Spain to decent employment. We need to recover industrial policies to restore decent employment within the framework of the European Union. We need security policies, which is not the same as a policy that really wants Europe to have or to found a financial plan to the United States of Mr. Donald Trump, because we are not going to allow them to do this. We are not going to spend the 5% of the GDP regarding, and this is not going to bring us to austerity policies, because we need to say stop there, because if any single country of the nature spends a 5% of the GDP regarding arms to report or to provide benefits to the companies from the USA, dear colleagues, the reduction in subventions, education, dependency, or the reductions regarding infrastructures are going to be a matter of time. Therefore, the strategy of security of the European Union is very important, because we are going to say no to what Mr. Donald Trump really wants. And to give a further insight into all of this regarding Europe, we cannot talk about the tradition, the Enlightenment, the anti-fascism, because we need to talk about all of this, because this is our genetics as society. But we need to receive the support from big groups, and to do this we need to have a social idea of Europe. Europe must be, or must mean, more facilities, rights, peace, salaries, peace for European population and peace for population around the world. We need to be the pioneers, the reference to recover the multilateralism, because the world cannot decide this regarding the summits or these meetings. We need multilateralism spaces, the NATO, a world that must be established by human rules, thought for humankind and thinking about the most vulnerable groups, that is to say the working groups and the most popular classes around the world, because we are aware of the situation and we live in a very difficult situation, in a very difficult world where there are many risks. And we are aware of all of this in news, in discussions, in the different governments in our continent. Because there is a risk regarding democracy, how Occident didn't live from the last World War, the dictatorships from the last century, because we cannot keep doing things like this, because we need to wake up, we need to raise flags as the ones that we have sown before, but very important flags, because we are not here to talk about initials, we are here to reivindicate the social rights, in the union traits in Spain, but also outside of Spain. Against the society of the hate, against the society who wants us to fight against each other, against the society of the aiming, the dismissal, against the society of the boats, because we want to push the last one in order to save myself, because we need to find a way to do things right, and from the civil awareness and the social awareness, because we need to oppose without no doubt to racism, to classism, to xenophobia, to patriarchal machismo that is still there in our society.
Our society has, well, I'm going to make use of an image I saw in the Congress the other day of a Belgian trade union that is actually present today. So against this lifeboat society, we need a big boat society that says everyone on board, everyone is welcome, because there's actually space for everyone, because we are not in a fight for breadcrumbs. Because if we revert digital transition and energy transition, we are going to generate more wealth than ever in human history. But we need to distribute it. We need to fight for it against techno gurus and CEOs that are actually trying to rule our world. So therefore, dear colleagues, we need to be very proud of our class, very proud of our citizenship, and very proud of our trade unions. We need to defend our labor rights. We need to defend our constitutional frameworks that grant rights for everyone. We need to defend the wealth equity, and we need to defend our political and financial equity, and democracy cannot be stopped at the doors of the work centers, and we cannot allow that in the different companies they ignore democracy, and we cannot assume the conditions of work of millions of people that get sick and cannot exert their rights when they need a leave, for a sick leave, and sometimes these leaves are not granted for this specific role. And moreover, we need to see how, for example, in Castilla-La Mancha, in the region, they're talking about silly people when people get a sick leave for mental health issues. How can we project this issue, which is actually our 19th century image? So, dear colleagues, our fight is one and only one. That one of the trade union in Europe, in Spain, and worldwide. It's the fight for rights, the fight for citizenship, the fight for labor, the fight for fraternity, the fight for the concept of empathy, for solidarity, class solidarity, whatever you may call it. But this is historical, and this is civilization, actually. Trade unions need to play a crucial role. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, colleagues from all over Europe. Thank you for being in Spain. Thank you for being in Madrid. Thank you for being in Carabanchel. Long life, working class, long life trade unions. Thank you.
No puede haber atención digna para nuestros mayores con salarios precarios y plantillas insuficientes.
La salud no puede ser un negocio. Necesitamos una sanidad pública fuerte, con más inversión y profesionales a los que se les reconozca su formación.
Las emergencias no entienden de fronteras. Por eso reclamamos coordinación.
Emergencies cannot have barriers.
La educación pública necesita recursos,
Public education needs resources, stability, and dignity for our professionals.
Sin empleo público estable y
Without
ajustado
public
a las necesidades de la
employment
población,
that is
no hay
adjusted
servicios
to
públicos
population
eficaces
needs,
ni derechos
we cannot
garantizados.
have efficient work and we cannot grant the different rights.
Cuidar bien también es trabajar con
So
convenios
taking care
dignos,
properly is
jornadas
also
y
talking
permisos
with
adecuados.
decent
Defender la
salaries
sanidad pública es
and
defender nuestra
wage.
vida.
La
To
educación
defend public
crea
health and to
igualdad de oportunidades,
defend
y sus
public
docentes
education
son
creates
quienes lo
life.
hacen posible.
And actually our
Los
staff is
servicios
those who
públicos
make it
sostienen
possible.
la vida de
Public
millones de
services
personas.
sustain the
Los
life of millions
servicios
of people.
públicos son valor
Public
y
services
patrimonio
are
de los
value
ciudadanos y
and
las
patrimony
ciudadanas de
for
Europa.
the
Los
citizenship
servicios
of Europe.
públicos se
Public
defienden.
services defend you.
Estamos en el hospital de Villalba comenzando las jornadas de huelga de 24 horas.
Dear comrades,
Al hospital de Juan Carlos
we're gonna be at the
II,
hospital
Santa Elena de
next
Valdemoro.
Monday,
¿Por qué estamos aquí?
as
Estamos
always.
aquí para poder cuidar mejor a
And we are
nuestros
here in order to
pacientes,
say
para
our
poder
patients,
conciliar y cuidar
in
también
order
de
to
los
conciliate and also
nuestros.
to
Nos
take
llevan
care
los
of our
permisos,
people.
nos ponen problemas en la restricción
We are receiving problems in our shifts that are not bearable, and in the end we feel like slaves and not that healthcare workers. And the Cuban group needs to know that we are not going to stop until we can provide the care properly to our patients, and we are going to stay here until they stop taking advantage of our will to work. And therefore our motto is, yes we can, of course we can. The European Union actually shows the need to put into practice a new industrial policy in Europe. They have put into practice the Clean Industrial Pact or the Industrial Act in order to create a normative, but this is not enough for us.
Necesitamos incidir en el concepto
We
de
need to
autonomía
highlight
estratégica. Asimismo, tenemos que reforzar el pilar social, que es clave para el proyecto europeo y promover la transición justa y la recualificación de los distintos trabajadores de los sectores. Que las políticas europeas se centren en un sector de la construcción desarrollado, que pueda hacer frente a todos los retos en materia social y de vivienda. Para el sector automovilístico, las políticas europeas necesitan generar certidumbre regulatoria sin dar pasos atrás, asegurando una transición justa y ordenada para las personas trabajadoras. Desde UGT tenemos claro que la política energética de la Unión Europea tiene que basarse en la sostenibilidad, en la seguridad de suministro y en el precio final para consumidores domésticos e industriales.
La política de común tiene que ser social y justa. Las ayudas deben ir vinculadas a la condicionalidad social
and helps or assignations must be linked to social conditions. It's very important to enhance inspection and control mechanisms. That's why from UGT we think that imputations must be actually demanded the same conditions as we demand here in the European Union. Now we're going to pass the floor to Esther Lynch, which is the Secretary General of the ETUC. Sorry.
Comrades, friends, we didn't come here to be polite. We've come here to be heard, because silence is not an option. We're here because working people deserve better, and we, together, we're going to win it. Across Europe, millions of workers get up every morning, work harder than ever, but still can't pay the rent. Still struggling, still fearful of the future. And all this while CEOs, tech bros, shareholders continue to pile up the profits at the expense of working people. That is a scandal, and we say enough is enough. They tell us that deregulation will be progress. They dress it up. Simplification, competitiveness, the 28th company regime, EU Inc. But we know what it really means. Fewer rights, less protections, more risk dumped on the shoulders of working people, and we reject it completely. They tell us austerity is a necessity, but we know what that really means. Workers have learned hard during the financial crisis. It means lower wages, weaker unions, less collective bargaining, no resources for investments or our much-needed public services, factories closing down, a tax on pensions and on unemployment benefits. And we say, no way, we won't pay. And the far right that claims to be with working people, we know their true colours. They side with capital, they side with CEOs, the richest few. They divide working people, attack trade unions and our rights. But because of this, because of days like today, they're afraid. They're afraid of the collective organised power of working people. And we came to Madrid to be heard all the way to Brussels, in every capital, in every workplace. We're here for quality jobs, jobs you can actually live on with collective agreements in every region, in every sector. We're here for fair wages, safe workplaces, affordable homes, affordable food, respect. Respect no matter what job we do or where we're from or who we love. For investments in our communities, for strong public services, and for a real industrial policy that defends and reinforces production in Europe. We're here for peace, human rights, multilateralism, and against the illegal wars of Trump and the silence and inaction of the European institutions. For a Europe that stands up for justice and for the many, not for the rich few. And that's our message. Another Europe is possible. A Europe built on solidarity, strong wages, workers' rights, and investment in people. Not austerity, not a race to the bottom, and not the politics of fear. Look at Spain. Yolanda, my sister, Yolanda. When progressive policies asked for by trade unions are implemented, When workers' rights are respected, when wages rise, the result is economic growth, social and economic progress. Friends, comrades, when working people stand together, no institution, no employer can ignore us. And we stand tall today with thanks to Unai and Pepe for this very important day, UGT, Comisioneres Obreras. Thank you. Thank you for the leadership. Your unions are a lighthouse for Europe in these dark and difficult times. So, we're making a lot of noise today. Your movement is how we will change Europe. And this must be only the start of a common European trade union mobilization to change the direction of Europe, to reject austerity and deregulation, to win quality jobs, social justice and peace everywhere. Because friends, when we are united, we are unstoppable. The people united will never be defeated.
Cedemos ahora la palabra de nuevo a la voz de quienes representan a millones.
Now we're going to pass the floor to those who represent millions of workers in all Europe. So let's give a strong round of applause to Bert Engelhardt, Maurizio Landini, Dan Billen-Guillén, Malien Ska, Oliver Reutig, Livia Spera, Enrico Somalia y Roberto García. We're going to pass the floor to Bert Engelhardt, President of FGTB in Belgium. Dear colleagues, this is my first speech in Spanish ever. I would like to apologize beforehand for my accent and my mispronunciation, but I really wanted to address directly the vast majority of the people that are together here with us in this rally, because far beyond my mispronunciation and my lack of language skill, we share a common language actually. We share common words, and never mind the language we are speaking. Solidarity, fight for social rights. Social justice and decent work. Peace. I am here together with more than 100 colleagues from my trade union, FGTB of Belgium, because this action is necessary. This action is crucial. If we stay silent, we won't change anything. And if we just keep looking, we won't change anything. We know that every single social victory has needed a fight, perseverance, solidarity. We should never forget this.
And now I will continue in English. We are the ones who build Europe. We are the ones who will continue to build it. Here in Madrid as well, we say no to dismantling of our social rights, of our collective bargaining, of our public services. We say no to social and wage dumping. Every day, every single day. We see how cuts hit the world hard, how they create more and more precarity and social insecurity. We see how conservative forces turn try to turn against one another, to divide us, but they will not succeed. History teaches us what happens when people no longer see a future. When we fail to offer perspectives, hatred wins, the far right wins. We cannot allow that to happen. Have we ever backed away from a challenge? No, and we will not do so now either. Comrades, let us fight for our rights, for democracy, for peace, for good jobs, good wages, for social security, for public services, for a world where nobody is left behind. Let us stand firm, let us organize, let us mobilize today and in the months ahead for precarious workers, for our children, for our planet. We must unite, stand up and fight for labor and social rights. If we do not do it, nobody will. Together, we are strong. Y ahora, todos juntos, siamo
And now,
tutti
all together,
antifascisti.
we're all anti-fascist.
Siamo tutti antifascisti. Siamo tutti antifascisti. Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Maurizio Landini, segretario generale
Maurizio
della Confederazione
Landini,
Generale
General
Italiana
Secretary
del
of
Trabajo.
CGIL from Italy.
So parlare a malapena l'italiano. Grazie all'Ester, grazie Unai, grazie Pepe.
Well, I'm going to talk in Italian. Thank you, Nai. Thank you, Pepe. Thank you to all our colleagues from CES, Commissiones Obreras and UGT. In Europe, we need moments like this one. We need moments to demonstrate together, to gather together in order to claim for our demands and in order to defend democracy by putting it into practice. We want to send a clear message to the European Commission. The workers, the pensioners, we are very, very tired of bearing the burden of all the crises while some other people speculate and get wealthy at our expense. So from 2008, every single crisis has been burned into us, and austerity policies has only social cutbacks, wild privatization of public services, and scarcity in the labor work. And this is not the Europe that we want. For us, Europe must mean democracy, social justice, public services, and public investments that create jobs, quality jobs, and also ecological or green transitions and digital transitions. Labor must be safe, stable, and to be protected. And this is why we need financial justice or fiscal justice, and the time has come to tax the rich, tax big fortunes, in order to distribute wealthy and to generate development, because we cannot have real equality without justice. None of this will be possible if the only political decision in Europe is to invest in weapons. We need to say it loud and proud. The answer to our workers' needs has never been a war. Labor, rights, development, and justice die at war. Wartime only brings suffering, pain, and exploitation to those who work. And moreover, they allow for more speculation to those who are already very wealthy. And this is why we need to go forward all together. And this is why I would like to suggest to you, together with ETUC, to gather again this fall in Rome in order for a great European initiative that favors peace and social justice. So let's work and let's fight, colleagues.
Jean-Willem Goudrian, secretario general de la
And now we
Federación
welcome
Sindical
Jean-Willem
Europea
Goudrian
de Servicios Públicos.
from the EPSE.
Hola, compañeras y compañeros, la solidaridad de la Federación Sindical de Servicios Públicos.
Dear colleagues,
8 millones miembros.
we are 8 million members in all over Europe. So we are here together to say something very simple. Without public services, we do not have democracy, we do not have equity, and we do not have dignity. When an ambulance doesn't make it on time, when an elderly person does not receive the care that they need, when a school lacks enough staff or is understaffed, when a hospital is packed, we are not facing a technical failure. We are actually facing an emergency in public services. We have been told over the years that we needed to perform cutbacks, to privatize, and to save. But what happened when the pandemic hit us? Who was able to maintain, to sustain, to support our societies? It was actually our workers, our healthcare workers, our care workers, our public workers in general, education workers, energy workers, and emergency services workers. And this is why we say this is enough. Enough austerity. We're going to mobilize us for the Public Service Day, the 23rd of June. We're going to mobilize for more public investment, more public jobs, decent salaries, strong collective bargain, and the end of the policies that weaken our ability to care, educate, and protect our communities. Public services are an investment in life, in future, in peace and social justice. Long live solidarity and long live the fight of the workers of our public services. Long live UGT, long live Comisiones Obreras, and long live the European trade union movement.
Marie-Hélène Ska, secretaria general de la Confederación
Now we
de Sindicatos
welcome
Cristianos.
Marie-Hélène Ska, the General Secretary of CSC. Well, I'm going to try to speak in Spanish as well. Our organization expressed our solidarity with Spanish workers. Every single day in Spain, women and men that work wake up and make it possible that our society works, actually. Every single day in Madrid and in Brussels, there are people that take care of our children, that work at the hospitals, at the elderly care centers. Every single day in all Europe, public services sustain our welfare state. Today, here in Madrid, together with trade union workers from all over Europe, we want to say three different things. First of all, our commitment to decent work. Second, the need of everyone to contribute according to their capacities. And if we say it clear, of course, we need to tax the rich. Dear colleagues, the most wealthy people need to contribute more to the common good. And in the third place, the right to live a decent life thanks to our work and to grant access to decent housing. And today we say it loud and clear. Let's say no to deregulation. We say no to a new regime of business creation that does not guarantee social rights and fiscal benefits. We say no to a Europe that enhances the concurrency between workers. We also say loud and clear no to extreme right-wing parties, to the far right and to fascism. But dear colleagues, we also say yes sometimes. We say yes to a different Europe, a Europe that protects its workers in this unstable world. We say yes to strong investments in order to grant a green transition that is fair for everyone. We say yes to a future for future generations. And we say it all together, dear colleagues. We mobilize. Everyone mobilizes. Together with CCOO and with all workers in Europe. Because we, all together, we're going to win.
Oliver Gotti, secretario regional de la Federación Europea de Trabajadores de Servicios.
Now we welcome Oliver Gotti, Secretary General of the European Service Workers Union. Dear colleagues, they shall not pass. They shall not pass.
Colleagues, life is getting tough for workers in Europe. They work hard, provide essential services, keep Europe running. Yet workers struggle to pay for their rent, groceries and childcare. Corporations and their allies in politics want to roll back workers' rights. They want to reduce us to little circuits in their machines. They want to shrink our piece of the cake. Against their attack, let's stand up in solidarity. Our defense, yes, our offense is strong unions and strong bargaining. No passerun. No passerun. No passerun. We fight for real say, more pay and better working conditions. We want every worker to be covered by collective agreement. That is why we campaign in Europe for no public contract without collective bargaining. We fight for the revisions of the EU's public procurement rules. Taxpayers' money only for companies that will respect workers' rights and collective bargaining. Public authorities must say no to corporations exploiting workers and giving money to them. Let's send a strong message to corporations, politicians, and populist fascists. We are the trade unions, non passerun. We are the collective voice of workers, no passerun. We are here together to have our say on our future, on Europe's future, a Europe that strives for solidarity, quality jobs and democracy. Enough is enough. No passerun. No passerun. Thank you.
Livia Spera, Secretaria General de la Federación Europea de Trabajadores
Now
del
we
Transporte.
welcome Livia Spera, General Secretary of the European Transport Workers Federation. Dear colleagues, as transport workers, we need what it means to maintain Europe in movement. We connect people. We deliver what Europe needs. But as it happens in every other sector, working class people are being left behind. We face low wages, scarcity of jobs, sub-hiring chains that actually hide responsibilities and attacks to the strike right. Higher workload, higher stress, higher violence at work, and new technologies and artificial intelligence that have been implemented without any consultation, without any protection, and without any respect towards our workers. And once again, we are being told that the solution is deregulation and austerity. The same failed policies that destroyed our employment and weakened our societies after the last crisis. This is why we are here today, to say it loud and clear. This is enough. Enough is enough. We strongly reject any European initiative, even the 28th regime that weakens labor protection, collective bargain, or trade union rights, because we already know what happens when we allow companies to spread their regulations all over Europe. We see it in the road transportation, in air transport, and in sea transportation. Social dumping, unfair concurrency, and a road towards the abyss. The 28th regime can actually make everything worse and make it more difficult to control it. If they say that they do not want to weaken the rights of the workers, therefore they need to prove it. Let it show. Let them put it into words, in concrete art. What we need is a different way to go, without deregulation and with protection, without cutbacks, with investment, without scarcity, with quality jobs. We need a Europe that has strong public services and fair mobility, solid rights and quality jobs for everyone. Today, from Spain, we want to send a clear message to Europe. A different model is possible, and we are going to fight to turn it into reality. Because when workers unite and when they mobilize, we are unstoppable. Thank you very much, dear colleagues.
Enrico Somaglia, Secretario General de la Federación Europea de Sindicatos de la Alimentación,
Enrico Somaglia, General Secretary of the European Federation of... So, dear colleagues, together from this arena, we want to send a very powerful message, a very strong solidarity message and willingness of change. So we say today loud and clear that we are not going to give up to this world that is dominated by a handful of leaders that do not show the minimum respect for human life. Today we also strongly reject a Europe that's a coward, that always gives up to those who want to impose the law of those who are stronger, and they stay silent when they see innocent people and children being assassinated. Today we shout that we are angry towards a European Union that treats migrant people as if they were products or criminals, as we were shown yesterday with the embarrassment at the European Parliament with the vote. of regulation of return of migrant people. So today, we go against the deregulation process that has been implemented. We do not accept the lie that destroying social rights and environmental standards is going to be Europe more competent. The problem are not all rights. The problem is that wealth is not distributed. It's not quite well distributed. The problem is that wealthy people are wealthier and poorer people are poorer. That is actually the problem. And the trade union movement in Europe wants a different union, a different European Union that builds peace, because it is not possible to have financial development while the rest of the world is on fire due to the bombs, and the money of the taxpayers is actually addressed towards buying more weapons instead of investing it on hospitals, in education and in public services. This is not possible. We want a Europe that is able to eliminate intolerable ways of exploitation, such as, for example, sub-hiring abuses and temporary jobs. Just some days ago, 4 workers, agricultural or farming workers, were killed by their bosses in the south of Italy. I just said their names, and we need to bear them in mind in this rally today. Because we want a Europe that protects young workers just as them, that because they came to this work with the hope for a better future, and they have only found exploitation and a violent death. Dear colleagues, we cannot allow to put in danger all the advancements that we have conquered after decades of working class fights. A fair society is something possible, and today is a very good proof of it. We are going to make it thanks to our history and our common struggle. Long live the working class struggle, and thank you very much.
Next, we give the floor to Roberto García González, the President of the European Federation of Police.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you for coming to this important event. My name is Roberto García, and I am the newly elected President of the European Confederation of Police Unions, Eurocop. I am a Spanish police officer.
I am...
A Mosso d'Esquadra. Thanks. And from this large family, we want to add our voices to the demands that have brought us all here today. Police officers are workers. We are entitled to be included in social dialogue with our employers at all levels. These are basic requirements that Eurocop has been making for years for its membership. And they take on even greater significance when we, the police officers of all the European countries we represent, are the ones demanding justice and social peace. And let's shout out loud and clear that social peace can only be achieved with quality jobs and by investing in workers. Austerity is not the answer. Personal safety are not achieved by investing less and less in us. It is essential to raise awareness that in our modern society like ours, precarious working conditions where a worker cannot live with dignity despite being employed are unacceptable. Decent work is synonymous with a more prosperous and equal society. And we, the police officers, who are part of your society, we are you, we live with you. We are part of the community. You breathe the air we breathe. We too want everyone to live with dignity, justice and peace. Gracias a todos por venir hoy aquí. Lucha obrera.
Thank you very much to everyone for coming here.
Muy buenas. Bueno, soy Marisa Valleroso.
Hi everyone, I am Marisa Vallerosa and I come from Asturias. This is a great land regarding reivindication because we are proud of the way we fight, and this is why I am going to sing our motto. Therefore, please, if you know our motto, you can join me.
En el pozo María Luisa, trailara, trailara. En el pozo María Luisa, trailara, trailara. Murieron 4 mineros, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. Murieron 4 mineros, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. Traigo la camisa roja, trailara, trailara. Traigo la camisa roja, trailara, trailara. De sangre de un compañero, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. De sangre de un compañero, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. Trailara, trailara. Trailara, trailara. Mira, Marusina, mira cómo vengo yo. Mira, Marusina, cómo vengo yo. Y traigo la cabeza rota, trailara, trailara. Traigo la cabeza rota y trailara, trailara. Que me la rompió un costero, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. Que me la rompió un costero, mira, 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 Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. Santa Bárbara bendita, Santa Bárbara bendita, trailara, trailara. Patrona de los mineros, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo yo. Patrona de los mineros, mira, mira, Marusina, mira, mira cómo vengo.
Gracias.
Llevamos 58 días de huelga en la calle y vamos a seguir porque estamos pidiendo que las condiciones
50 days of strike in the streets, and we are going to go on because this is how we want to do things, and we want to fight, and we want to request all of this for the working people. We want education that allow us to work with quality. We want a decent salary, responsibilities, and the level of life that we really deserve. We are always asking something according to our educational stages, and we ask that we are identified as educational stages. And until the moment we receive all of this, everything that we need, we are not going to stop, because we are not going to go back to the classrooms. We are going to keep fighting. The administration spent millions of euros in the contracted cleaning, security and support staff, as well as services in all essential sectors. Companies always bid as low as possible in order to win public sector contracts. Once they take over the service, they realize they want to maximize their profits and seek to do so at the expense of workers. The state cannot allow public money to continue funding precarious working conditions in the cleaning sector and other essential sectors. Europe is already ahead of us. France, Germany and the Nordic countries have clauses in their collective agreements to ensure that purchasing power is not lost. These agreements must be adjustable to reflect what workers are entitled to earn, and public authorities must pay accordingly. We are fighting tirelessly to ensure that our professional drivers can take early retirement. They have an essential profession, but one that over decades leads to conditions such as mental fatigue, chronic fatigue, just as in other European countries such as Germany, Italy or France, where mechanisms are already in place to allow our drivers to retire early. We demand that the government introduce this in Spain as soon as possible. And here the UGT, we want to tell all of you who are on the road every day, because the UGT will continue to fight tirelessly to early retirement. Here we are in this job position in Spain, and we deserve a decent collective agreement. We workers in this sector have put Spain on the world map for its design and quality, and we want that to be recognized. In the regions of La Rioja, Almansa, Toledo and the Spanish Levante, we want to be paid as we are owed for our excellent work that is starting to lack the people to carry it on. So, a decent wage and a reduction in the hours set out in the collective agreement. We are among those who work the hardest in the industry, and it is either a wage or a dispute. We give the floor to Pepe Álvarez, the General Secretary of the European Trade Union Federation. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dear colleagues. I want to say hi to all of the European organizations that are here with us today. I want to say hi to all of the trade unions from the European Union, from our federations, because you are also here with all of us. And I want to thank you all, because almost all of you have spoken in Spanish, and I really appreciate this. You've made such a great effort, and I want to thank you all for this great effort. However, in the first place, I want to say hi to our colleagues who come from every single territory around Spain. You've woken up 4 a.m., 3 a.m. to get on a bus just to be here today from all around Spain. Because it's you, the delegates of the trade union delegations, you are the best people of this country, and nobody is similar to you, dear colleagues. They can say whatever they want, extreme right, it doesn't matter, you are already there. Dear colleagues from your working centers are aware of the fact that you are there and they can count on you. Dear colleagues, we have bad news. The future of Europe is not going to be decided by the markets nor by the powerful people. The future of Europe is going to be decided by the workers of the European Union. That is the reality that is going to happen in the European Union. Because there are people who want to make or change Europe into a market. There are people who want to change Europe into an economic space. And we want to change Europe into a social space. We want to pay tribute to all of those that in Europe did take care, manufacture, to all of those that raise their voices, who wake up very early in the morning. This is our Europe, the Europe from the men and the women that work every single day. This European space is the space that we want to defend. And yes, Miranda is a colleague who was a former president with me in the European Confederation of Trade Unions. And right now, I wanted to remind all of you that one of the issues that is pending and it is present are the women's rights in the European Union. We're not going to step back because we need to achieve not just not to step back, but we need to achieve that every single day in the European Union, the equality policies, the co-responsibility policies between men and women, between women and men become a reality. And this, dear colleagues, even if it is not said, because you don't dare to say it, it is part of the program of the extreme right of Europe, and it is part of the program of the conservative parties in Europe. And this is the reason why today and now we need to say very loudly, the women from the European Union, they are the same as the men of the European Union, and the men of the European Union, we are the same of the women of the European Union, and we want a feminist Europe. We want a Europe that defends the rights of women. Dear colleagues, we've been listening to the extreme right during much time, and even we've been listening during much time to those that buy or accept their message because they have a special interest in order to divide all of us, and they really want young people to fight against pensioners, against the elderly, and this implies, because as the program, as young people don't have decent salaries, it means, or it is because pensioners have high pensions. They really want to divide young people from their elderly, from their grandparents, and they are not able to explain that in reality decent pensions must be maintained with decent salaries or decent wages to young people in these countries, because we need to share the wealth that is being generated, dear colleagues. And the main issue is to share the wealth that every single day is shared. This is the reason why we can say that the problem is not that the pensioners don't have decent pensions, and in many cases these are not decent. The main problem, dear colleagues, is that the young people, the workers, we need to improve our wages, because it is possible to improve or to increase our wages. They really want us to see that our main problem are immigrants. They are stealing our public services, our job positions, and you all are aware of the situation. You know this is not truth, and immigrants really support us, really provide important services that are conducted in the European Union. And we should, dear colleagues, to state a strike day for all of the immigrants of the European Union, so they know what they really do, because they are very useful. And it is not fair to have this policy to blame the immigrants, because we cannot allow this. We need to have services for everyone. We cannot remove these terms. We need to support, we need to fulfill the public services for every single person. Therefore, this can reach everybody. Dear colleagues, we want peace for Europe. We want that our Europe is able to finish with any interest that goes against peace, because peace, it is a fundamental tool for citizens around the world. And we need to say no to Mr. Trump, we need to say no to Mr. Putin, and we need to say no, because we cannot go on like this. We need to say no to Netanyahu, because they cannot keep killing people. And this is the reason why we want to maintain multilateral organisms. We want to have United Nations that are able to keep establishing the following steps in order to be able to establish human rights as a main question, as a fundamental question, as a question for the future. And I want to say something else, because I believe this is very important. Today, the delegates from the General Union Workers and the Workers' Commission, you've heard talking about what is denominated in Europe, because you have heard our colleagues regarding the state number 28, or these new aspects that they want to execute to remove the regulation regarding the labor relations, to remove rights from the workers. Because this is not something new. They already tried sometime, but the trade unions were able to stop them, and today we are going to do it again. Dear colleagues, I have no doubts about it. Nonetheless, we need to stay here, we need to be strong, we need to have our trade unions here, because we need to finish this idea to go towards the regime 28, because this is a regime that really wants to finish or to end with the labor rights of the workers. They want to end or finish with the participation of the companies. They want us, as we are one of the countries of the European Union, with the smallest part of participation to end with this security. They want companies to stop being part of the public contest regarding the different countries without taking into account wages or legislation in these countries. And this, dear colleagues, could be a real catastrophe for the rights of workers. And I wonder, this Spanish extreme right, which is very Spanish, which talks about the sovereignty of our country, where are them? What is going to do the European Parliament? Because European people, we have the rights to have all of this as a main discussion, because this is one of the most important discussions that is needed to be executed in the European Union. The new European Commission has been removing important aspects in the policies that we were executing, and nowadays nobody talks about the green agreement. Therefore, dear colleagues, without planet there is no future. The climate change is a reality, and we are all aware of it every single day of the year. Because what are we living these years? What has our country lived in the month of May? We need to take all of this very seriously. These policies regarding the climate change, the environment, and we need to go back to this European Union who really wants to protect this planet, to this European Union that really wants to keep going, to keep working. Therefore, dear colleagues, the world has changed after COVID-19, after the pandemics, and we really want to explain that in Spain there are more sick leaves, because of these doctors of the social service. However, in reality, they know that we've observed a great increase in all Europe, because we have decided, because we really want to work in order to live. We don't want to live to work, and this fact, dear colleagues, they really need to be aware of this situation, because this is a fact. And the COO, the Spanish entity, is aware of it, but it is not in relation, because anyone who reads the dictionary is not in relation with sick leaves. And we've said 1,000 times, can we analyze the root causes? Can we know which is the reason? So in our country we have people who are under sick leave, and if we know it, we are going to be able to face this situation, because we know many things. We know the public health systems are far away from being those that we really need, and we know that professional diseases in Spain are not in relation with the recognition of the professional diseases in the scope of the European Union. In some cases, in Spain we have one, and in Germany it's 3 for everyone that we have in Spain, and this reality is a reality that we need to bear in mind, because we cannot forget when it comes to talk about absenteeism. However, between all of us, dear colleagues, with just one word, which has an autonomous community, which is very important. One source as the president of the Provincial Council of Castilla-La Mancha. We cannot talk because they don't want to talk. And do you know why? Because the Provincial Council is very protected. They are convinced that their people is going to reach the government, and this is how they want to do things. They become representatives from Vox because this is what the extreme right really wants, and the extreme right, if they win the elections, they are not going to lie to us, because we know which is their goal, and they didn't explain all of this to us. There is no wage, there is no collective agreement that is able to hold the increase of the housing in our country, the prices of the housing in our country, because a public intervention is needed, because housing, it is a public good for a private use, but a public good which needs to be there, and to be there for the citizenship. And this is the reason why we request very loudly that we want more housing, we want social housing, we want possibilities for the workers. We've been talking about taxes, and it is true. We need to talk about taxes, because those that have more, they need to pay more, and this country has many possibilities to keep growing from the point of view of the money collecting, because they cannot lie to us, because we are under the standards of Europe. And do you know why taxes are important? To pay our schools, our public universities. And today we are breaking the principle of equality between the workers and the wealthiest people of this country, because not all of the workers have the same possibility to study in one university, because dear colleagues, they are being excluded, they are being left behind from universities, and wealthy people, they go to private universities, and the poor people, they cannot access universities. However, taxes are useful to pay the health system, roads, motorways, to pay the pensions. Taxes are the main instrument in order to share the wealth that is generated in one country, and this is the reason why we need to say no, because they cannot touch our taxes. And I am going to finish, and dear colleagues, I want to thank the second Deputy Prime Minister to be here with us. Thank you very much, dear Yolanda. Thank you very much for accompanying us and for accompanying always. We Europeans want Spain to be one of the few countries within the European Union who today keeps developing policies. Unai, in his intervention, has said everything in a very clear way. We wanted to finish with the austerity, and we made a labor reform that has reduced the temporality of our country. We wanted to reject the pensions reform of the Partido Popular, and we were able to do it, and even to improve the pension system of our country and to ensure this system for the following years. We wanted, dear colleagues, to establish rights, because if not, the regulation of the digital platforms. And this is the reality in some cases. We've done an agreement regarding the employers' organization. In other times, we've done it with the trade unions and with the government, but I am going to be very clear. You know that I don't want to stay in silence, but if we didn't have this government of progress, this government of the left, this wouldn't have been possible. And this is the reason why, Yolanda, I really want to thank you, and I want you to send this message to the President, to our government. I wish he could be here with us, but he is not present here, but I would like him to be aware of it. And dear colleagues, we are not stupid. We know that a small part of the issues that we talk daily are in relation with all of these policies. This is the reason why I want to request to the government of Spain to defend Palestine, and they did it. We requested the government of Spain to face the government of the USA, and they did it. And today we are going to say that we want our government to keep working with a program that is able to provide the workers more rights, to keep enhancing the rights for the workers of our country. It is a pleasure to be here, dear colleagues, with all of you. I am delighted to be this facility, La Plaza de Vista Alegre, full of workers, because we have recovered it for us. They tried to steal it from us, but we've recovered it for us, because this space, this square is part of the history of our country. Therefore, thank you very much. Because of this event, of this conference, because for us it is an honor. And we will be all together in the following one. Thank you very much.
Continuamos nuestro programa dando paso a voces fundamentales en el
We're going now to pass the floor to some crucial voices in the social and labor environment in Europe. We're going to pass the floor to Catarina Tavares, Fabián Cushí, Ana Martínez López, Jean-Michel Ausebaud, Branislav Rugani, João Barreiros, František Gaddos y Gianni de Blamnik. Let's give them a strong round of applause.
Toma la palabra Catarina Tavares,
We're going to pass the floor to Catarina Tavares, General Vice Secretary of the EUGTP in Portugal.
No mundo em mudança. Mundo em que os valores sindicais são mais importantes do que nunca.
Vivimos en un mundo cambiante, un mundo en el que los valores sindicales son más importantes que nunca.
Queremos uma Europa
Justicia social, equity and democracy. We win a Europe that goes far beyond good intentions and words. Trade unions are essential towards the threat of extremism. Solidarity, international solidarity is today as crucial as it was always. Trade unions are crucial in order to defend workers, to preserve the European social model and act as reference of democracy. Today in Portugal we are debating a very strong labor reform after months of negotiation and a general strike, a reform that actually adds more deregulation and more flexibility in order, without offering any safety or any improvement of work conditions. A reform that UGT and Portuguese workers have rejected. We want more quality jobs, fair salaries, fair wages, and an economy that works for everyone. Say no to deregulation. We can do it together.
Toma la palabra Fabián Cushí.
We're going to pass the floor to Fabián Cushí, which is the General Secretary of CGT in France. Dear colleagues, it is very important for the CGT, together with all of you, in order to work together with the European politics that are linked to the advance of far right. Far right is the worst enemy of the labor world, and we know very well their strong will to attack individual freedoms, especially trade union freedoms, there where it's implemented. They play along with capitalism that considers trade unions an obstacle for the road towards benefits, and they don't stop trying to weaken democracy, even in labor places, with the aim of concentrating power and wealth in a few hands. We are here today in order to offer a collective answer to this, collective response for the rights of workers and for a peace that is fair and that is long-lasting. We reject a Europe of inequality, of exclusion and deregulation, and we reject the fear politics, and we will keep on fighting without taking breath for a Europe that is faithful to human rights, solidarity and dignity. Now we pass the floor to Ana Martínez López, which is the Vice Secretary of the European Federation of Retired People. Good morning, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like you to send you greetings from the General Secretary of FERP, Agostino Siciliano, and from all our members. FERP is the European Federation of Retired and Older People, and we are part of the ETUC. If we are here, someday you will always be here, representing your different trade unions in order to create a better world. In these difficult times, we believe our manifesto, in which we set out our demands, is particularly relevant. We, as former workers, we stand with you, the current workers, in the fight for decent wages, so that in the future we may have pensions that allow us to live with dignity. Together, we are stronger. Being a pensioner will never mean losing your rights. Thank you very much. I would really like to wish you a very fruitful meeting. Long live the working class struggle. We welcome on stage Jean-Michel Butzebaut, who is the Vice President of Industrial Europe. Thank you, dear colleagues, for your determination. Thank you for the great amount of energy that you have used in order to organize this very exceptional European mobilization. Today, Madrid is not only the capital city of Spain. Today, Madrid is the capital of solidarity, of working class solidarity in Europe.
I'm coming from Belgium, and I work at the FGTB ABVV. But I'm speaking today on behalf of Judith and Isabel, the two General Secretaries of Industrial Europe, but also alongside numerous trade union delegations from across Europe, which represents more than 7 million industrial workers across our continent. And I want to make this clear. Es aquí donde se expresa la voz de millones de
Here is
mujeres
where we express the voice of millions of women and men that produce the wealth in Europe, and they simply deserve respect, dignity and justice.
We want a Europe that guarantees decent wages, strong collective agreements and respect for trade union rights everywhere. We don't accept that workers should pay the price for crises they didn't cause. We want a Europe that invests in its industry, and we want a Europe that protects its jobs. Compañeras,
Dear colleagues, today from Madrid we sent a message to all the governments, all the European institutions, and all the rulers of big companies. Without our workers, nothing works properly. Without our workers, nothing is produced, nothing is created. Without our workers, we do not create wealth. So long live international solidarity and long live the struggle for social justice. Together we are stronger. Now we pass the floor to Branislav Rugani, the General Secretary of FO in France. Dear colleagues, please receive the fraternal salute of the Working Class Force Confederation in France. Let's make together heard the voice of millions of workers that we represent here together in Madrid. It's a place full of meaning for our Spanish colleagues. I know it is a place in order to defeat those who want to make workers fight between them with their deadly ideas, with, of course, the fascists coming from the far right-wing party Vox. Let's raise our voices in order to say no. Let's say no to deregulation, no to austerity. Let's go, colleagues. No to austerity, sing to EU Inc. Nowadays, we need to be able to face history. So let's keep on mobilizing for peace and towards social justice. We're stronger together. So last but not least, thank you so much to our Spanish colleagues for welcoming us here today and to the Union of Trade Unions for their initiative, Solidarity. Now we welcome João Barreiros, which is a member of the CGTP in Portugal. Dear colleagues, I would like to start my speech saying hello to everyone and passing through a brief message in name of Portugal. Today in Lisbon, thousands of workers are together in front of the Portuguese Parliament in order to demand the immediate avoidance of the labor regulation that the Portuguese government, together with the support of the far-right parties, are trying to implement. And these kind of measures represent a step backwards. They actually make easier to fire people. They raise the scarcity of employment, and they widen or they lengthen labor days and weaken collective bargaining. And this struggle is being taken part in Portugal, but it's actually part of a common battle, a common struggle that is being taking place in many European countries. The defense of employment with rights, better wages, affordable housing, and public services of high quality. It is a struggle for a more equal distribution of wealth against militarism and war, and for a different road that values work and the workers. We trust the strength of our workers, and we strongly believe that this fight is going to defeat these proposals that attack labor rights, and we also hope that it's possible to build a different Europe, which is based on solidarity, social justice, progress and peace. Long live the working class struggle.
František Gandos, vicepresidente de la Confederación de Sindicatos de la República Eslovaca.
Milé odborárky, milí odborári, priatelia, dovolte mi odovzdať vám srdečné pozdravy z nášho malého krásneho Slovenska.
Trade union sisters and brothers and colleagues, allow me to bring you a warm greetings from Slovakia.
Kde sa stretávame spolu s odborármi a bratmi z celej Európy. Hoci pochádzame z rôznych krajín, spája nás spoločný cieľ. Chrániť práva pracujúcich a presadzovať spravodlivejšiu spoločnosť.
It is a great honor to stand with you today in Madrid. We trade unionists from all across Europe have come together. Although we come from different countries and represent different sectors, we are united by one common goal, defending workers' rights and building a fair society.
A výzvy, ktorých čelia pracujúci ľudia, a netýka sa len jednej krajiny. Rastúce životné náklady, tlak na spravodlivé podmienky či neistota na trhu práce si vyžadujú silný hlas odborov a silnú spoluprácu naprieč celou Európou.
Today we send a clear message that European trade unions stand together. Solidarity knows no border, and the challenges facing working people do not stop at national boundaries. Rising living costs, pressure on working conditions and growing insecurity in the labour market require a strong trade union voice and stronger cooperation across Europe.
Potrebujeme najviac je rešpekt pracujúcim a k sociálnemu dialógu. Naša sila vždy vychádzala z jednoty a solidarity. Preto stojíme aj dnes spolu tu v Madride a preto budeme aj naďalej spoločne bojovať spolu ako bratia a sestry za lepšiu budúcnosť pre všetkých pracujúcich. Viva la solidaridad!
We need quality jobs, fair wages, safe working conditions and full respect for collective bargaining. We need a Europe that puts people first. Our strength has always come from unity and solidarity. That is why we stand together here in Madrid today. Thank you, and I wish you also a strong and successful demonstration. Dear colleagues, it is a pleasure for me to see so many of you coming from all over Europe here today. My name is Gianni, and it's
on behalf of the EFBWW, representing workers in construction, wood and building materials. Everywhere, comrades, we see the rise of far-right and anti-democratic forces that are fueling hate, inequalities and war. And we also see the impact of their policies in our sectors. Workers are put up against each other. But the answer cannot be the mindless deregulation waves proposed by the European Commission. Business wants simplification, you say? Okay, nothing more simple than direct employment. In the construction sector, long chains of subcontracting create fraud and abuse, and are an obstacle against the organization of all workers, an obstacle against us, comrades. This is why we need a Quality Job Act and to regulate and limit subcontracting. We need a ban on agencies and intermediaries in posting of workers and subcontracting directives that promote direct quality employment. And that's why, friends, that together with our friends of EFAT and ETF, we will organize a large demonstration in Brussels on the 1st of December for quality jobs and to limit subcontracting. No, more than ever, the answer is fighting together for equal treatment and social progress. Juntos somos más fuertes. Juntos somos más fuertes. Gracias.
En último lugar, toma la palabra
last but not least, we are going to pass the floor to Yolanda Díaz, Second Deputy Prime Minister and Ministry of Work and Social Economy. Dear colleagues, the right-wing parties say that working people and trade unions do not exist. And they say, every time they say that you do not exist, you come and fill this space, which is full of space of people that are working and that make world a better place. And thank you, Unai, thank you, Pepe, thank you, Esther, thank you so much for gathering trade unions here in the Union. This is the Madrid we actually like, the Madrid of working class people in Vista Alegre and people that change the world. Thank you so much for bringing it today. Thank you for bringing everyone to the heart of a country that fights and defends common good, and today is here today. Our president, our prime minister, is defending social cohesion at the European Parliament. Dear colleagues from CCOO and dear colleagues from UGT, this is what we want. Here you have the social majority, the cleaning workers, healthcare workers, education workers. Today, schools closes for the summer in our country, so thank you very much. Thank you very much to workers, technical workers in the automotive sector, in the industrial sector. No, it's not them. They are not the ones that wake up every day to make this a country. It's you that are here in Vista Alegre, and it's not true. You are not dead. You are not dead. You are stronger and more alive than ever. And I would like to talk to you about the future. Times are hard. The one who fights and has intelligence is going to win the future. This is a challenge in Europe, and people in my house, they show me how important it is to fight for democracy, and today, once again, our struggle is for democracy. I want to talk to you about the future, but first of all, I'm going to look backwards. Throughout 50 years of democracy, here in our country, we had 52 labor reforms. 52 labor reforms in which, time after time, working people were losing rights. And I would like to express my gratitude to you, Unai, Pepe, because you have changed history. You have brought the best of the Spanish democracy in clandestinity and also in democracy in Europe. We have proved that we are able to change the life in our country, and Spain has an employment record right now. And it's a record that Mariano Rajoy, our former president, didn't achieve. We have 22.5 million of workers here in Spain, and it's our work, it's not their work, it's our work. We have created very important reforms. We have raised our minimum wage with everything against us. People are trying to end with our country. We had to face a very strong opposition, and we actually highlighted the work of people in culture. We have done a lot of things, but there's just one I would like to bear in mind right now, and there's one I would like to remind you of right now. You created the first labor reform that they wanted to oppose to, and actually it was passed through because one person from the Popular Party made a mistake, and this was made by trade union, this was made by working class people, and it's our reform, your reform. They actually wanted to be opposed to it, and this labor reform has changed Europe, and this is what allows that Spain continues growing, is the most growing country in the OECD. But dear colleagues, we are not here for settling down. I don't want to settle down. I don't want to give up. Of course, we have the right to throw a party today, but that's not why we are here today. We are here to conquer more rights, and this is the Europe that we want, a social Europe with working class people inside, with people that benefit here from there, a Europe that defends women in the whole picture of the world. This is the Europe that we want, and this is why today we are gathering here in order not to give up, not to settle down, and in order to conquer more rights. And there's something that is key. Decent housing. The Spanish Constitution says in the 47th article said that housing is something that cannot be speculated with. Dear colleagues, our challenge is to win the right to housing. This is the key for winning. This is the key for a better country. And young people have the right to gain access to housing. And dear colleagues, I'm going to talk about future. Sometimes I have been told that I say too much, that I speak too much. No, but we have just started. We want a registry, a timetable registry, so that we can end with extra hours, and we are actually going to make it. We are going to obtain it. There is a lot of people opposing it, but we are going to obtain it. There's something we want to do here. From the 19th up until today, the trade unions that are here with us today, that we have been carrying out our struggle that moves the world. It's the working time and the living time. There's productivity and wealth that are more than enough in order to work less for the same wage and to live better. We want to work less in order to live better, dear colleagues. And there's something I would like to ask from you. I'm not going to give up. It's true. The three right-wing parties achieved to reject this act in our parliament, but it's true that if we mobilize this working force, they are not going to win. This is our aim, to reduce our working hours and to improve the life of people, and this is what we need to do in our country. And there's something I would like to mention. I want to talk about right-wing parties in our countries. I would like to ask you, what is the project? What is the 21st century project here in our country? Right-wing parties do not have any kind of project for working class people. They have projects against working class people, dear colleagues. They do not want to raise the amount of our pensions. They do not want to vote for our labor reform. They always vote against every single improvement for working class people. They do not have any project for your lives. They do not have any project that benefits you. They rely on hate. This is our right. This is our country. It's not their country. Because they just reached an agreement, PP and Vox. Dear colleagues from CCOO and UGT, you have to be very careful about this agreement. In June, the Popular Party said they want to freeze the minimum wage. They want to freeze pensions. This is not something I'm making up on the spot. They have all actually written about it. And they want to eliminate company committees that are accompanied by less than 50 workers. And this means they are going to end our lives, and therefore the struggle is against us. They are fighting us, they are attacking us in Extremadura and Castilla y León. They are actually attacking working class people that work in the public transport sector in Madrid, and they have this is actually discriminatory. So long live migrant people in our country and Europe. Long live working class people. We love you in Spain. We like you here. This is the Spain that we want. This is the Europe that we want.
And dear colleagues, I am going to finish. They are the reaction of these emotions, but today in Vista Alegre you have Do It, Unai, Pepe, Esther in the international scope of hope. And I want to thank you all for this, because I am aware of the tough moment, because we have an international world and every executive order that Trump dictates, it's against EU. And the first rule that Donald Trump stated was against trade unions in his country. The second one was against the general strike, and he's still stating rules against the bunch of the countries, and it is not reality that they are not interested in the world of work. They are interested, but they want us to think that this is not reality, because working class really exists and working class is here. This is the reality, and we have the possibility to do things right. And we are here because we are fighting against all of this, because we want to have hope, because for us exploitation has no nationality. We are a big human movement. We are with the trade unionists of North America, China, Africa. We are the same people around the world. But dear colleagues, I want to remind you all what I learned at home. We are here in the public sphere to improve the life of the people, and I have experienced tough moments. Pepe and Mai, they are aware of this, because first of all I want to thank them, because when I always say that when I leave this I am going to talk about many things regarding the humankind and the representatives that you have. And I am saying this because politics cannot be done without affection, without a good treatment, because there are very important things, because I saw battles alone and I saw them, but you were always there. However, at home, I learned that in the public sphere we need to be general. We need to be clean people, and we need to fight to work in a decent way, and this is the manifesto that we all need to learn all of these people that we are here today. And now, as I know that moments are difficult and this is a situation, I want to say it again. Resignation, it's a luxury that working class cannot allow. Resignation, it is a luxury that you cannot allow, because the right-wing party wants you to stay at home, to be tired. But Pepe, Unai, I am not sad. I am powerful now because I want to keep changing the situation, improving the life of the people. But they want you in the moments for the elections. They want you not to do it. And let's say that when we vote, they lose this. And this is what it really happens. Therefore, even if the moment is very tough, I am very proud of this government, where we only try to improve the life of the people. And we need to stop the right-wing party. We need to keep increasing the SMIC. We want to reduce the working hours. We want public schools. We want public universities. We want people that can have a decent life. And this is the reason why we need to vote. And this is the reason why I want to make this call. Dear colleagues, no resignation, please. We want to be there. We need to demonstrate that we are not like them. We want to demonstrate something bigger, and I learned this from my father. To the working people, above everything, you want to have hope. And when I was a child, Elisa Soso Diaz used to tell me when a worker has no salary, no wage, because they go to the strike, as our colleagues from 0 to 3 years do during these days, because they are doing it. And they are doing it because they have hope in order to obtain their rights, and they believe that the streets belong to them and the streets belong to us, to the people of this country. So I want to say to you, please fight until the very last moment, because even if we have tough moments, it is worth it. And I want to say this to the women, all of those with difficult labor conditions. I want you all to mobilize. I want you all to do it for yourself, because we have pending challenges for the working people, and we need to improve the situation, to have equality regarding wages between men and women. And I want to request to the trade unions, as you are doing today, please stand up. People from the UGT, European trade unions, thank you very much, because if you do it, we are going to win. Thank you.